Hi, Gimbal, and today I'm going to present you the flash Godox AD200 Pro, and also I will compare with its predecessor, the AD200. Let's start. Well, first of all, what is it? This is the flash. I'll speak a bit about more technical details, but I'm going to tell you about the concept. This is a flash that normally you use off camera, and the way it is you have the body here, you have a battery here, okay? I speak of body because you can actually change the head, okay? This is a Fresnel head, but there are other kind of heads. So there's a bulb one, so I take, and here's the bulb, so I put it in there. There's a small dot here, mark, and you have to put in front of the other one. So here's your flash. I know you should not touch a bulb, but this is just a cover. The real bulb is inside, so there's no problem. But don't touch inside, because the grease of your fingers will then melt on the lamp, and it will probably make it burnt, and it will be damaged. So don't ever touch in there, okay? So I take it out. So it means you have other kind of heads. I put you some picture. There's LED head. There's also one that you actually it's a head, it's a cable that goes here, and you can have your small head apart. So if you want to put on the camera and this in your pocket or on your belt, that's okay. So there are a lot of accessories that goes with this flash. It's really versatile, really useful, really practical. So this flash has 200 watts watt second, and there's also another accessory that lets you put two flashes together like this. You put the heads out, and you put in I'll put your picture right now. You put the bodies in there, and then you have the two lamps in the front. And instead of 200 watts, then you have 400. You actually get a bit more because it is metal. This accessory is metal. It actually gives you an extra bit of light because it pushes it forward. What comes in the box? In the box you get your flash unit, a battery, two heads, the bulb and the Fresnel one. You also get obviously a charger for the battery, okay? And you also get a bracket, so you can actually mount the flash this way. You can mount it, okay, this way, or flat, depends how you want to mount it. And here we start with the first difference. This is the bracket that came with the AD200 and the bracket that comes with the AD200 Pro. The AD200 was really stiff and hard to put it a bit like this, okay, to orientate it. It was really hard. So the new version, first it looks stronger, and second, you can actually, it's really easy to get loose and orient it exactly as you want. I prefer it. I don't use this because I put my flash into a softbox, so I use another kind of bracket. But if I wanted to use that with a snoot, for example, I would put it just on this, and this is really nice. So that brings us to the first difference. Some people complain that when you put the bracket on the AD200, it actually moved. It was not. It could turn a bit on itself, get loose. On this one, they made two dents in there, here and here, and so actually, when it's put there, it doesn't move anymore. So that's the first difference. Second difference. So here you have actually you have the flash head. On the back, you have a screen. Okay, that this is where actually you have all the information. When you are in with the Fresnel head, there is actually a modeling light, okay, not with the bulb head. And then the differences are the visible one, the AD200 on this side, the AD200 Pro on this side is about 8 mm higher. It's more square. They've made a recess screen, so you don't accidentally touch the buttons. Here it may happen. It never happened to me, but it may happen. The switch is smaller. Many people complain that it was very easy to switch on the flash when you put it in the box, and this one is a bit safer for that. And they've changed. There is a USB, micro USB on the AD200 to upgrade firmware and things like this. And on the AD200 Pro, they've put USB-C. There are more buttons here, like frequency, menu buttons and things like this, but basically it's the same, it's really similar, it doesn't give much problem. So this is really for the visible part. Now let's speak about the inside. First, the power is exactly the same. I've put you a video, I'll show you now.
AD200 with the Fresnel head at 1 meter ISO 100 full power, I get f45. AD200 with the bulb head at 1 meter ISO 100 full power, I get f16. AD200 Pro at 1 meter with Fresnel head full power ISO 100, I get f45. AD200 Pro with bulb head at 1 meter full power ISO 100, I get f16.
I've tested at 1 meter ISO 100 maximum power, and with the Fresnel head I get f45 on both, and with the bulb head I get f16. It's true that people can say, yeah, f16 is a lot less. Is it useful? Yeah, obviously it's a lot less because the bulb really spreads the light all around. But if you're using a softbox, obviously it will be all pushed forward, so you don't stay on f16. Although it stops, the light stops in the front, but it's different way of working. It's made really for use in softbox, so you get a softer light. With this modifier, it gives a different light. The Fresnel head is really a hard light, so it's okay for a snoot or a backlight, a kicker, whatever. But really, you would not use the Fresnel in a softbox. That would not be very logical because you would not spray the light. You would not use actually the softbox, just a part of it. So power-wise, they're exactly the same. Then you have a difference is that you can fine-tune the AD200 in 1/3 increment. You can put light power, one third of increment, and the AD200 Pro 1/10. So it's more precise if you want to put the exact light amount of light. Actually, I don't see any problem with 1/3, but they've put 1/10. One thing that is really good on the AD200 Pro, you can actually power down to 256th of power, which is really good to put really low power. If you're in night photography, you want just put a bit of light. On the AD200 it's down to 128th only, which is not bad, but I think it's good to have this 256th. That's useful. Then the recycle time at full power, the AD200 gives you 2.1 seconds and the 200 Pro gives you 1.8, so it's good, it's faster recycle. And then there is something that is important, actually Godox is speaking a lot about, is more color stability. I explain. When you use a flash, any flash, when you actually trigger the flash, first the temperature and the lighting goes on, it goes up and then it's flat, it's lighting, and then goes down like if it was getting cooler. No? In these two ends, front end, back end, you actually get a bit crazy colors. So it means you don't have color stability in any flash. And that means that if you're doing pictures of products and you need exact colors, as it's not stable, the difference won't be every time the same one from one picture to another. So for post-editing, that may be a problem. So they've added a chip that you normally find only on a higher quality or higher range of flashes, more expensive flashes. They've added a chip that actually cut out this fuzzy part. And the good thing is you have more color stability. But Godox doesn't actually tell in the advert, but yes, in the manual, that works only if you are using manual mode, not if you are using TTL or iSync, then it doesn't work, okay? So you actually have to tell the flash you need color stability. It does it, but just in this condition. Well, actually, I show you pictures I've made with Claudia Reyes, made with the AD200, not the latest one, not the Pro, the normal one. And this is a really brilliant flash. It's really easy to use, really practical, and it gives you a lot of possibilities. Obviously, these flashes are meant to be used off camera. So for this, you're gonna need a trigger. And what's great about this concept is that you don't actually buy this flash for Canon, Nikon, Fujifilm, Olympus or Pentax or whatever. You actually buy the flash, that's it. And then what you need is a trigger that matches your camera brand. So this means if tomorrow you change camera or you have a friend with a different brand, he can have his own trigger and use the same flash. So this is an Olympus trigger. You see it's XproO Olympus, that works the same one for Panasonic. S is for Sony, N for Nikon, C for Canon, all this. And that's great because you can actually look towards the future, and if you change camera, it's not a drama, you don't lose your flashes, you can still use them. Especially if you're using manual, that's no problem. If you want to use TTL or HSS and your camera actually supports it, and you just change the trigger and keep doing it. If you're on manual, doesn't matter. I've used that one with my Hasselblad and it didn't give me any problem. I actually connected with a cable on the side and that's it. Obviously I didn't use TTL, I didn't use high sync, nothing, so that's not a problem. So don't forget to buy the right trigger depending on the brand of your camera. And there are two kinds of triggers. There's this one, I like it because there's a screen and you actually see all your flash units or groups. So you can actually put the power depending on each group. That's really useful. But this one, if you want to put, you put it on your hot shoe, on your camera. If you wanted to put a flash unit on top, you can't. So there's another version which is different. It's like this, and the screen is in the back, but you have a pass-through hot shoe, so you could actually put a flash unit on another trigger. When I use a Yongnuo flash along, I've got a Yongnuo trigger with a pass-through hot shoe, and actually put it on top of it, and I've got it together like this, okay? But I prefer this one because normally I don't put any flash unit on top of my camera. So I prefer this one because the screen is easier to use, but it depends on you, it's no problem. There are several modes like fully manual, TTL, high sync, if your camera supports it. I don't like high sync because actually it burns condenser, and you don't get full power, not on this flash, on any flash that does HSS. I don't recommend it because for me, in my opinion, it's not good. I prefer to use an ND filter to cut the ambient light. I've put a video here about that. But if you want, and your camera supports it, and you have the right trigger, you can actually do HSS and TTL with this flash. There's also a multi-mode. What is multi-mode? Let's say you want to have a tennis ball and you're in the dark. You want a tennis ball that flies like this, and you want to make 10 pictures, one picture, and you see the ball 10 times. So you actually trigger the flash 10 times. So it's a stroboscopic system. You actually indicate the frequencies and how many flashes you want. And you put the camera on 1 second, for example, and you throw the ball, or less. I don't know if it is 1 second to fly the ball, whatever. And it goes ting, 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 ting. So after, on your picture, you will see the ball in several places because it's been flashed like this in multi. No? Actually, this way of working is really hard on condensers and flashes. So any flash, not just a Godox, any flash, they always recommend that after doing that kind of picture, you let the flash cool down, okay? So take it into account. But this flash allows you to do that. So what compatible camera do you have with all this? You have Canon, Nikon, Sony, I checked the list, Fujifilm, Pentax, Panasonic, Olympus. And if you don't have any of these brands, you can always use in manual mode and put the trigger on top of your camera anyway. But if you wanted to have a HSS or TTL, check not just the brand, there are some models also, to check both things. I recommend you read the manual. It's in Chinese and English, and it's very visual, so it's quite easy to understand more or less because it's a lot of small drawing, all this. There's one thing it doesn't tell, and I cannot tell you, is how many flashes you can actually do with full battery at full power. It doesn't say here, it tells how many flashes you can do maximum, how many lightings maximum you can do in a multi, so you don't burn the condenser, or if you do like burst, how many maximum in the way that it doesn't overheat, so there's some limit, it stops automatically. But in a normal way of using, I cannot say. All I can say with the AD200, I make like 3 shooting in a row, and in total I make like about 400 pictures, and I did not empty the battery, so I cannot say exactly. I would say enough, but it all depends the way you shoot. If you had full power, I was about between a quarter and full power, most of the time a quarter to half power, and yeah, it was forever, it lasted forever, so I had no problem with power. So I would say enough, but if you want to check with testing yourself, or maybe you find other information on internet, but I didn't find any in the manual anyway. So what do I think? What is better, the AD200 Pro or the AD200? Well, first I must say I think these are the best flash units you can ever dream of, because the cost is really good and the quality is really good. They are really easy to use, and these triggers, they're compatible with all Godox flashes. Well, most Godox flashes, like the AD200, the 200 Pro obviously, the AD600, but also Cobra flashes like the 860, 850, 7, I don't know what they have, okay? Though with one trigger you can actually control all your flashes, so if you're off camera it's really useful. So I think these Godox flashes are great. I know that many people are speaking about Manfrotto. I think Manfrotto is far too expensive for what they give, but we need to be fair. If you need really short lighting, then Manfrotto is a good way to go. If you do like really action photography in a dark ambient and you really need to freeze the action using the flash, then yeah, it's good, because the lighting time is really short. But for 99% of us, we don't do that kind of pictures, and we do like fashion or portrait or whatever, and it's paying a lot of money for something you don't actually use. So Godox is the way to go, in my opinion. Some people will tell different, but in my opinion Godox is far better. If you compare price quality, it's great, it's really good. So I do recommend these flashes. So what do I recommend? The AD200 or the AD200 Pro? Well, actually the AD200 is not made anymore. So probably in a shop you'll find both still, AD200 Pro and AD200 on the internet, a lot of AD200. But they're stopping it, they're not making it anymore. So you're likely to get the AD200 Pro. If you need the color stability, knowing the limits, if you need a tenth increment of power in tenth, that's good, AD200 Pro. If you need to power down to 256th, then yes, this is the one to get, the AD200 Pro. But actually, I've used both, mainly the AD200 before. I show you some pictures and things I've made. And really, if you get a good offer on the AD200, don't even think about it, get it. You can save 50, 60, 80 euros, don't even think about it. Get the AD200 and don't spend your money on the Pro, which is slightly more expensive. I think price will drop a bit when the AD200 is out of stock completely. But really, I think both are great flashes, and there's nothing to think about. I think this is the flash you need. Many people spend money on cameras and lenses and whatever, and they forget about lighting. And this flash with the right softbox gives you a great light, and I think everyone should have an AD200, honestly, or AD200 Pro, any of them. Yeah, I think this is the flash to have. Well, that's it. Maybe I've forgotten some things, some information, but this is basically what it is about. I recommend this flash, honestly. I hope you like this video. If you think it may interest other people, please share it on social network. If you have not done yet, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. There's a button down here and also a small bell. If you click on it, you'll get notified when I upload a new video. My website, ericgimbal.com. If you have any question, please leave a comment below or send me an email to info@ericgimbal.com. Below, I also put links of my gear on Amazon and also links to other parts of my YouTube channel. Thank you very much. Bye.